Hello. In today's video I'm having a look at a new collection of cut and create dies from Couture Creations, and it's their Vintage Flowers collection. So I've got a card here that I haven't stuck things down on yet, so I'll come back to that in a minute. But they let you create these lovely foiled flowers. So these are quite bright. I've filled them onto some dark purple card here, and there's a butterfly in the collection as well, and this gorgeous sentiment and this frame, and the flowers are actually detail is included on the frame, but then other dies, other cut and create dies in the set actually let you create more dimension and sort of decoupage it. So that's one of my cards, and then I've got another card I've made here. So there's different flowers in the collection. These leaves are actually from the Peaceful Peonies collection, so that's another collection, but so that's a different colourway. And then I'm working on a cream and gold version, okay, but as I say, nothing stuck down yet, so we'll build that as we go along. I've also tried out the dies with different colour schemes. So this is some deep red foil on some black card, and that makes a gorgeous poppy. So I haven't made a card for that one yet, but that's certainly something I will be doing to actually use that one. And then I've done some purple and lilac card with some silver sparkly foil, so lots of bling on those. And that's the same, but using the colours of the cardstock the other way around. So you get a base for this one, and then you get the leaves that sit on top, so you can create dimension for your flowers. Okay, so here's the sets. So that the frame, let's try and get this so that the camera can see it. So the frame is one set, so you get the frame, the butterfly and the sentiment. And as I say, on the frame, let's take it on my magnetic sheet here, you've got the detail of the flowers at the bottom there, but then they're exactly the same size as you can create using the cut and create dies. So you can actually match up and put your items over the top. Obviously these are backwards until they've been foiled. Let me get that card. So you can see here I've used the die and put it over the top of what would be the flower foiled from the frame. So you've got the frame set. This flower has 3 cut and create dies, so you get the base, and then the ones that these cut out you can put over the top to add dimension. And there's a beautiful centre that goes in that flower as well. And then you've got a peony, so that's the die, and then this creates dimension for the middle of the peony, so you use those together. And then there's the daisy, so you've got the flower itself, the top separately, so you might want to do that in different colours and add some more dimension, and then you've got the centre of the daisy that again you could foil separately, either to add more dimension or to do in a different colour. So as you can see on this card, I've done the centre of the peony for a different colour foil, the centre of the daisy for a different colour foil on here. So that's the die set. I've also, for this card that I'm making, used some dies from the Modern Essentials collection. So there's a set of nesting fancy squares, and I've used that die for the centre of my topper for that one, and another of the frames as well. And then I've also cut some foliage. Now these are from an older collection. This is from the Petite Jardin collection. It's the Evening Branch die. You can get hold of it. It's a great little die. It makes such versatile foliage. So I like to keep coming back to that one. So that's the dies, cut and create dies that I'm using. So I'm going to be foiling the peony. I've already done lots of bits already. I wanted to talk about how my card comes together, but let's get some foiling going and then I can talk about that while things are warming up. Oh, yes, that's the other die I've used from the Modern Essentials collection. Right, so let's bury that, put that over there. So, all you need is some foil. Now, gold foil, Couture Creations do quite a number of gold foils. And I'm using the warm gold for this particular card, but they do different ones. They also do a sparkly one. Actually, let's try out the sparkly one. Let's see what that one's like. So the sparkly one is also a very warm gold. So if you get some gold foil and you buy more gold foil and you think, oh, the colours don't match, well, check carefully which gold foil you bought and which one you were using, because they do a pale mirror finish for their gold foil, just a gold foil, and then they do one that's a warm mirror finish, and they also do a vintage finish, which is kind of a satin finish. So let me cut some foil. Get that rolled up correctly. Okay, well, I've got some card here. So I just need to trim this to roughly the right size. That's simply, well, it's not to waste foil, and so that I can actually stick it down on my card. Now, you don't have to foil these dies, you can ink them. You can ink them and then die cut with them, or you can die cut them and just get the emboss and then use inks and gilding waxes and all sorts of things on them afterwards. So, just a couple of pieces of tape, and I'm going to trim that, and then I'm going to do the centre. Again, I'm going to tape it down. Okay, so I've got foil enough card there to do another one if I want to. Let's put those on there safe out of the way. Now, as I say, I'm foiling, you don't have to foil, but let me bring my Go Press and foil over and show you how I've got it set up. Like that. So, now this is hot because I've been making sure it's ready for the video. So I've got on here a thin metal shim, and I've got another thin metal shim here. Okay, so I'm not using the conversion plate, although you could. I'm using two thin metal shims, and they're quite flexible. They're only 0.5 millimetre thick metal shims. So onto my Go Press and foil. I want that. And I want that. Now, I found earlier that I needed an extra piece of card on top. Let me just grab some spare card. So, any old bit of card will do. And I just find it helps to make sure that the texture of the die is really pressed into the foil. So then I put my other metal shim on, and then I'm going to add, now because I've tested this out, I know how many I need, 3 thicknesses of card shim. Okay. Now sometimes I leave out the card shim for the dies and put an extra card shim on top, but So that goes on there. Now the reason I've taped things down is because at this stage I find if I'm using metal shims, things can slide about and my dies don't quite line up my card or my foil. So that's why I tape things down. So that needs to warm through. So the metal shim was hot, but now the dies need to get hot. So that's going to need to wait a minute. So just bear with me. Make my lids stay down firmly. Right, so while we're waiting for that, let me come to my card. So I don't like wasting anything. So I've got a card blank that I've cut down from an A5 card blank, and I've used my Couture Creations mini guillotine for that. Does a lovely job of cutting down card blanks. I've got my sentiment that I've foiled onto the scrap of card, and I've got it, the rest of it here, the scrap of card that I cut off my A5 card blank. So made good use of that. Let's get rid of my leaves for a minute. Okay, so I've got a matte layer, piece of black card, but I cut it to size and then I've used it to foil this frame. Okay, so again, nothing going to waste. That'll go down on there. And then my background I've cut to size, and then I've used my Cut and Create, my square die in the middle there to foil that section and cut it out. Okay, so not need another piece for that. So those will layer together, and then that's going to hide the hole. Okay, that's going to hide the hole in the middle. So let me just quickly start sticking this down while we're waiting for that to warm up. Just about get my tape turned back, yeah, and it's gone green. So that's ready to go. Right, we'll just stick this down and try not to get it wonky because I'm rushing. So I will put details of all the Couture Creations products I'm using in my blog post. I'm not going to try and remember all the names of the individual dies in the middle of the video. So if you look down in the video description, there will be a link to a blog post, and on that blog post at the bottom of this page you'll find a list of everything. So let's put that to one side again. So I'm just going to turn the camera so you can see me what I'm doing. Oh, take my weight off the top. So this comes out. Roll it through my die cutting machine. I'm just going to give it a second roll. And there we have. I'm going to take my shims off. I'm going to get my pick and lift. I'm going to take my metal shim off. Sometimes these get stuck together anyway. Oh, so that one's come out the die, but let's pick those up. Okay, so that one's boiled nicely. That's my shim that I used, so I can use that again. It's not really cut through. So there's that one. Now when you get these, a good indication of whether or not you've had enough pressure is whether or not you can see the texture on the back. So let me just, there you see, you can see the texture on the back of the card. So these will fall out, there we are, and then you can sort out your dies when they've cooled down. Don't forget to though, before you tidy up. I have known people to accidentally throw dies away. Now my top tip for getting the foil off of these, sometimes it's difficult to kind of pick the foil up at the edge. So I use a piece of low tack tape to put it at the edge and use it to pull back the foil. There we are. A little bits of overfoiling that will just brush away. There we are. So that's how easy they are to foil. Need a bit of tape for this one. And there we are. There's the centre of the peony. There we are. Okay, so my sentiment, I foiled it, and then the shim I'd used when I foiled it, I've actually then die cut, because he hadn't cut through properly, and I've stuck it on the back so it's more substantial, so I can spread out my foam pads without it flopping. So that's that. So now all I need to do really is put this card together. So, and I've done the same for that. I used a shim when I foiled, and that actually cut through when I foiled because those dies are a deeper die. So then I've just stuck the two together so that I could, because it's a thick paper rather than a card, so this needed some extra support. So let's get this together, and you can see how the card is made. Can't get the back of the tape. Can't. Now I need to make sure I get this the right way up, so it actually matches when I put the next layers on. So that's going there. This backing paper is from the Butterfly Garden collection that was out quite a while. Trying to think, probably nearly 2 years ago. But I just needed some papers to use with these dies. So that's that. As I say, the hole in the middle is going to be hidden. Now I'm not quite sure whether to put this that way or that way. And it's different, it's got different designs, but I think I'm going to put it that way. Let's go that way. So in the middle. Go. So my hole is hidden. I've got this one on foam pads as well. So quite a lot of dimensions this card. Obviously you could make it flat if you were needing to post it. Which is possibly something we're doing more and more these days. But I live in the UK, and for a special occasion card, we're a fairly small country. We are likely to be seeing people in person. Maybe not just at the moment, but normally. So there we are. lined up. Okay, so the fact I've taken this out the middle of here means this is sort of continuous across here. So now my flowers. Now, let's reach over here. Couture Creations do some great black foam pads. So I'm just going to use one of those, and I'm going to put it on the back near the top of the second part of the centre there. So that actually stands up then. And you can manipulate these to make them more dimensional. So this is going to sit over the edge of my frame with its centre in the middle. And I think I'm going to have this one as well, maybe at a different angle. Yeah, I think that will work. I'm just going to use the two of them. I think three would be too much. And then I want my foliage underneath. So, okay, so let's stick my flowers down. So I'm going to get some glue. Put along the bottom. I'm possibly going to have to hold this in place while the glue sets. So maybe I'll do one, and then I'll pause the camera and come back after I've got a bit further with putting things together. So you just literally line it up. Let me just tilt the camera a bit more and zoom it in. Wrong way. There we go. Oh, too far. So I'm just going to move this round. Let's focus on my hand here. Is that focus? That's better. Right, so I'm just going to line this up. It's difficult to line up with the camera and see what I'm doing. So I'm lining that up there. And then I'm going to stick it down. And I want to... Yeah, I haven't quite got it right. So I'm going to take that where I can see what I'm doing and stick that down. So bear with me. So I have stuck my flowers together. Move the camera very slightly. Okay, and I haven't stuck them down yet. Now I like to use a gel glue for sticking down dimensional things. So because these are kind of going over the edge of here, and I'm not quite sure where the glue's going to touch, I'm going to spread a big blob of this on the back and then put that down where I want it. And it also means it kind of stays open for quite a long time, so I can blob some on the back of there and tuck that behind. Without worrying about it drying too quickly. And then I can do the other one. So some people use it like a silicone glue. This is a multimedia gel medium, so you can mix things like glitters with this if you want to, if you put them through stencils and that kind of stuff. But I find it works great just as a glue. That one's going to go there. So you can see it means I can put them at the angle across there and the glue will find a place to stick to. And then some on the back of there. There, I think. And another one. No, I don't like the angle of that one, but I can still move it. Yeah, that one go there. this one can overlap it and come down a bit further. That's it. There we are. Okay, and I just need to wipe my spatula. Excuse me. Right. And then that just leaves the sentiment to go on. So I've got my sentiment here. I've already put the foam pads on the back. As I say, putting it on as a second layer, and it doesn't matter that it's not stuck down everywhere. It'll then be strong enough to be supported by the foam pads. As I say, or you can make a flatter card if that's what you want to do. So I'm just going to stick that on there. Just zoom it out a bit. There we are. And there is my finished card. So there we are. Vintage Flowers collection. I think I'm going to be using them quite a lot. They kind of work really nicely with lots of other things that have come before, and I'm sure lots of things that will come out in the future. So thank you for watching.